Science in Practice: Tools for Critical Thinking and Research series. This episode is on evidence versus anecdotes. Do we believe stories more than science? Evidence and anecdotes are two ways of supporting a claim. How are they different? What is an anecdote? Anecdotes are stories or testimonials that are based on personal experience or observations. People are often drawn to anecdotes because they are more relatable, vivid, and emotionally engaging. An example of an anecdote could be, Julie says, "I really like drinking lemon water in the morning as it makes me feel more energized." What is evidence? Evidence is factual information collected through scientific research to support or challenge a claim. Scientists carefully examine a claim, typically a part of a larger picture. They follow a strict, step-by-step process and use trusted methods and measurements. They base their findings on reliable data, solid calculations, and have their data reviewed by other scientists to make sure the results are accurate. The hierarchy of evidence is a general guideline that ranks the evidence based on the scientific method used to gather it. Different types of research questions may have their own evidence rankings. Experts do not always agree on the exact order of these rankings. For single studies, randomized control trials, RCTs, provide one of the strongest evidence because they carefully control all conditions to minimize outside influences. This helps make sure any changes in the results are likely due to the treatment or action being tested. It is important to remember the cause cannot be concluded with 100% certainty. Meta-analyses and systematic reviews go even further by combining results from many other studies. They select studies carefully and evaluate how well each one of them was done. This gives us the best overall picture of evidence on a topic. Let us return to the example of vitamin C. A systematic review looked at over 29 studies involving 11,000 people. It found that vitamin C does not prevent the common cold, but does help shorten its duration and reduce symptoms. For example, they observed that a daily dose of 1 gram or more of vitamin C shortened the symptoms by 12 hours. They also found that people who exercise and take vitamin C, the risk of getting a cold is cut in half. Why does it matter to make the difference? So let's ask ourselves why separating an anecdotal statement or evidence-based information is important. Anecdotes can look plausible, relatable, and promising, but they are not supported by research. Blindly following anecdotes can lead to misinformation or even harm. However, they can be valuable in providing directions for researchers to explore. Evidence-based research helps individuals make an informed decision in any particular topic. A statement that is supported by research is trustworthy, successfully tested, safe for those affected, and relatable for everyone affected. Validity is when a study or test measures what it's supposed to. Validity also implies that the statement is credible. Reliability is about getting the same results if you do the study or test again. Generalizability is how well the study's results can be used for other groups or situations. Lastly, acceptability is that it is tolerable and appropriate for the people involved. This information allows an individual to make an informed decision by considering whether the information presented is factual and supported by a wide research community rather than just being an opinion. We need to be aware that evidence is not absolute. There are many types of evidence for a given topic that can build on each other. Care needs to be taken to avoid assuming that one solution works for everyone. Identifying the differences between anecdotes and evidence-based research can help individuals understand the full picture about the information available about a particular topic, allowing them to make a safe and beneficial choice. Strengths and weaknesses of anecdotes. The brain is wired to believe the stories we hear. If an anecdote is emotionally engaging, we are likely to believe it. Neurocoupling means that the same neurons fire when you hear a story as if you experienced the event directly. This is an evolutionary benefit. For example, if everyone around you suddenly started running, it's likely you may experience an elevated heart rate and likely think about running too, as there may be a threat somewhere you haven't spotted. When we hear relatable and emotional anecdotes, we experience higher levels of hormones like oxytocin, which creates feelings like empathy and trust. We are also more likely to remember information provided through storytelling than we are facts and statistics. Looking back to earlier in this video, you're more likely to remember us telling you to have lemon juice in the morning so you don't get sick than of how many exact grams of vitamin C you need a day to have your chances of getting the common cold. In fact, anecdotes can still provide important insights that lead to significant scientific breakthroughs. For instance, the story of the British limeys helped scientists discover that citrus fruits can prevent scurvy. Of course, the danger is when the information we are provided through anecdotes is harmful. There is an incredibly large amount of misinformation out there, and there are vested interests for you to believe a certain way. Anecdotes does not require any scientific or mathematical backing. While information may be more effectively received by anecdote, this is where you need to think critically about what you hear. Strengths and weaknesses of evidence. When you want to know if a claim is accurate, the best thing to do is to look for evidence. Evidence helps us know whether one claim is more accurate than others because it has been carefully tested. Scientists are very thorough about how they study things. Instead of just guessing, they follow precise steps so they can show the findings or results in more than just one study. That way, other scientists can test it too. When a trial shows promising results, we can try to apply that knowledge to other people or situations. This makes evidence trustworthy, particularly in science and medicine. You would say that it is the closest to the truth as we currently know it. However, we need to be careful. Scientific evidence is not equivalent to truth. It is just our best understanding of a subject at a particular time. Was to hit this point home, it is important to remember that scientists do not have definite answers. Our understanding of things is always changing and evolving. What we think is true today might change as we learn new things tomorrow. Getting new evidence usually takes a lot of time and money. So we might hold on to older ideas for a while until new research is done. In these moments, we are inclined to explore novel research and anecdotes in the form of lived experiences. Unfortunately, scientific studies are always relative. They are conducted with limited groups of people with individual conditions, and what works for some might not work for others. Besides, scientific findings can be difficult to understand and apply, and often it seems like research has nothing to do with us. It is important to remember that evidence does not equal the truth. It simply represents the best scientific understanding that we have at the moment. In conclusion, many people tend to place too much importance on anecdotes While scientists often do not value them enough, there are efforts being made to find ways to use anecdotal evidence alongside scientific research to enhance our understanding. In short, anecdotes are personal stories that feel relatable and memorable, but are not backed up by scientific research. Evidence, on the other hand, comes from a structured, rigorous scientific process and is the most reliable and valid information we have on a topic to date. Recognizing the difference is important. Relying solely on anecdotes can be risky. While anecdotes have value and can inspire new research questions, they are not a substitute for evidence. Efforts are underway to better classify and organize lived experiences so they can contribute to scientific research. Evidence evolves over time, though it takes longer to produce and may not fit every individual situation.